Hi and welcome back to the Gemhawks YouTube channel. Thank you for continuing to watch. I hope you're enjoying the demonstrations and free tutorials that you're receiving here. If you are, then please let me know by dropping a like on the videos and subscribing if you wish to be kept in touch with new demonstrations. Today I want to teach you a mini tutorial, and this is a little bit of decoration that you can add to basically any other design you have ongoing, much as we did with the vine work. What we're looking at creating today is a little kite. Now this kite detail is absolutely perfect to add to your Tree of Life designs, which was uploaded in a preceding video a few weeks ago. I'm going to show you, if I may, an example of how this will look on a Tree of Life. So I have one of my trees here. Now this is crafted in Russian chrome dioxide and rose gold colour and copper colour wire. There's a lovely little flower here, and you've got the spiral sun, as we also learnt in a preceding video. But this is what we're going to look at today, which is teaching of the main kite design. So we're going to work primarily today with 1mm gauge wire, but you could also do this with a 0.8 if you prefer. It'll be a little bit easier on the fingers for you, and you can enhance this further by doing a little bit of a zigzag or a basket weave across the head of the kite, which we have covered in our Introduction to Wire Weaving and Wire Weaving 2 videos previously. So as we normally do, I'm just going to add a little bit of warmth and condition to the wire before we create the head of the kite, and then we will work onwards and upwards from there. So to begin with, I'm going to put a little angle. It's probably around about 45 degrees away from the main, and that's around about 2 to 2.5 inches from one end. Now you can work this design directly off the reel. I'm going to take that to quite a sharp angle before I open that back out a little bit to try and get a little bit more definition in our kite shape. Now if you prefer at this stage, what you can do is utilise some flat pliers, which are the same dimension from the joint to the tip, and in that way you know you will get the exact same size for your kite if you wanted to make that the perfect diamond. Once you've created your diamond shape, we're going to need to bring the main body of the kite and kite tail away, as if it was travelling in a straight line from the tip of the kite and onwards across where it meets. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm happy with all of those angles and give them a bit of a squeeze before I decide that that is where I want the cross end to take place. So I've set the size of my little diamond, which is the kite itself, and I'm going to use my favourite pliers, which are flat facing, and then just take that tail around a couple of times. Now one of the ways to get a really good wrapped loop is to use 2 pairs of pliers, and I'm just going to switch hands, support the shape that we've created with any flat facing pliers. I'm using very, very square ones here, and then take that tail of wire all the way around the tail of the kite and just kind of move around until you get that lovely smooth wrap effect. So give that a bit of a squeeze to make sure that you're happy and you've made sure there's no sharp jaggy bits on the end of the wire there. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm happy with that frame by straightening out those lines, and if you want it to be more diamond shaped rather than square, you can obviously edit this to be exactly how you want it to be, but that's your basic form with a tail coming away. Now for the remainder of the demonstration, I'm going to use my very, very square flat pliers because I know that I will get the exact same dimension over and over again. If you want to size this down because you're using it on quite a delicate piece of art or jewellery, then you can just pop a mark on your tapered chain nose pliers, and that will allow you to keep that same dimension over and over again, or use flat pliers which are fit for purpose. So I'm going to go one move along from where we've created that wrapped loop. So I'm using the dimension of my pliers, and I'm going to start by putting the angle in, and I'm going to make that a little bit sharper than I need it to be. Bring that down to square. So we have a line coming from the tip of the kite through where it all ties together in a straight line. We've come back at maybe 45 to 50 degrees, and then we're going to continue down parallel to our first line. Bring the pliers back in and draw the wire back across. If you imagine that straight line continuing down like so, make sure that's nice and tight and that it fits indeed to where you want it to. So we're going to take the wire so that it touches our main body of kite line. We're going to move those pliers over to the opposite side, draw that line down. Get the nice sharp angle if you can. If you prefer to, just for that section, you can use some finer point pliers. And then bring the pliers back into position and draw it back, draw the tail of that wire back up to the main body. Now, if it does get away from you and you end up with a slightly more curvy situation, then you can obviously switch over your pliers and continue in the same vein. So we're just going to draw the wire down so that it continues, and it's like we've made a little bit of a bow tie. So what I'm going to do is just repeat that a couple of times rather more quickly to show you how very speedily this design can build up, and then I'll show you a cute way to end up and how again you can utilise that in your other designs, especially a Tree of Life. It's kind of cute. So bring the pliers into the centre on the tail, and we're going to go up exactly the same way as we did at the beginning there. Pop the pliers in, draw that down. So just going to manually move that around until it sits exactly how you want it to sit. Pliers back in, up, so that the tail of wire crosses over the body of the design, and you can use your pliers here to make sure that you're getting an accurate measurement. Back onto the other side of the design and then push down until you get that little bow tie effect. Up until it sits back against the body of the kite string, and then continue and continue as you go. So I've done another one there. It really doesn't take terribly long at all. What you can do, which is kind of cute, is decrease the size of your kite bows as you get towards the end of the design. If you decide that you want quite a long kite, it looks quite cute just to have that tail tailing away, I guess. So I'm just going to, in turn, use my bent chain nose pliers to create that first angle. Across we go. And then I'm just going to make a judgment to make that slightly smaller. Now you could put a marker pen on the pliers to denote exactly where you want that to occur, but I'm just kind of going to go by eye for that one. Get that to sit across the design, onto the other side, push down, get some nice sharp angles in there, up, back to the centre, give that a bit of a squeeze, and then down and on its way. So you can see if you were to graduate that, it would look kind of cute. Now I'm just going to trim away the wire at the end here and make out that we've done enough of these little bow ties to work for the project that we have in mind. I'm just going to leave a tail of about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Coming in with some round nose pliers, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a tail on there. So gripping the end of the wire, not terribly close, we're going to have a little bit of an open spiral or coil coming away. And I'm going to come in with any flat facing pliers and give that a really good squeeze. Now, because as we move up the body of the kite along that kite string, you shouldn't have any wires crossing over until you get to the wrapped loop we made at the head of the kite. What we're looking to do, once we're happy with those forms, is squeeze down to keep that formation exactly how we want it to appear. Obviously you would have straightened out any kinks that you don't like the look of before you start this process. Make sure that that all sits exactly as you want it to, and then give it a hearty squeeze. You could hammer it very gently on a block, or you could use a wire whacker, which is 2 sheets of plastic. Give that a bit of a squeeze, and then if you want to curl that around, you can use the kite string segment of the design to just bring that round in a gentle curve. You can obviously bring the tail round as well if you desire, so I would just get that to curl all the way around. Leaving the tail of the kite coiled but open gives you plenty of opportunity to get some 0.4mm gauge in there and give that an adhesion factor to the design you're working on. Or you could very simply open it out and actively use this excess of wire here to coil onto your design. So in this piece, I have the head of the kite sitting over one corner of the Tree of Life design. This is an unusual square design. It skirts all the way across the front of the tree and then comes up around the back, and I've just used the tail to loop onto that framework. But there is plenty of opportunity with this open coil to finally weave it on if that's what you choose to do. So that is your mini project. It's a basic entry-level design in wirework, 1mm gauge or 0.8mm gauge, it doesn't really matter. Obviously if it's a standalone piece you'll want to up that gauge slightly. Really nice and simple to get into, and builds up ever so quickly, much like the vine work. You can make as much of it as you need to. I hope you've enjoyed the demonstration. Please do keep an eye out on my Facebook page for my Monday Facebook Lives, which take place every other week. Do join me for some giggles. I have carvings and jewellery sometimes, gemstones and cabochons and all sorts of things, and a bit of chat and gossip as well. So that's British time, at the moment British summer time. That's at 8 PM on a Monday. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for a heads up as to when that happens. I look very much forward to seeing you again soon for another tutorial. Bye for now.